Week 10 is here, and we got a great NFC matchup with major playoff implications as Sam Howell and the Washington Commanders fly up to Seattle to take on Geno Smith and the Seahawks here. Seahawks coming off a very forgetful game against the Baltimore Ravens, who are turning out to be one of the better teams in the NFL, and which is a shocking win because the Seahawks are one of the top teams in the NFC and currently tied right now with the 49ers for the NFC West. The Commanders are keeping their playoff hopes alive after beating your Patriots in a close 20-17 victory.
Shouldn't have been close, but
yeah, you know what it is. But Commanders, they're in a very unique position right here because they've traded off Trace Young, Montez Sweat, got draft picks for them, and all indications are like they are fully ready to rebuild. And so as they've kind of already started that process, and they have some key pieces in place like Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen on the defensive line, top guys in the league in their position. Honestly, a great receiving room, in my opinion, and skill position players. And we even talked about this before going live. Sam Howell, I like a lot. But they're even starting to get a little bit on the injury bug as well on the offensive line and need to improve there as well as still improve in the secondary as Ricky Stromberg was just put on IR. And there's other members of the team that are on IR that they're going to be missing for this game. But I want to throw it over to you here. Is like, what are your overall thoughts on the Commanders so far this season? Same with the Seahawks, and just kind of expectations for this game.
Yeah, and I do want to touch on Sam Howell first off. And you said that you like him, and I do like him. I think there's definitely a lot of room for improvement in his game.
Oh yeah, second year quarterback.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's only his 12th start. I think, this is only his 11th start, I believe. He's played 9 games this year, 1 last year. So this is his 11th start. That's not a lot of time in the NFL. He makes really good throws, and then he just makes some really bad throws. For example, the 33-yard touchdown to Jahan Dotson last week was a dot. Like, it was in double coverage, hit Jahan Dotson right, perfectly. And then at the end of the first half, he goes down and throws a pass, like a 15-yard pass, straight to Kyle Duggar. Like, Kyle Duggar didn't even have to move to catch that, to get that interception. And it's just like you have to eliminate those.
We're going to have to trademark that as like a dot to Dotson.
A dot to Dotson.
And a Big Mac to McLaurin. So there you go. Let's trademark that.
Okay. I'll let you get on that. But no, and so like he makes big plays. I think you just need to start reducing the amount of mistakes. And he definitely made less mistakes in the Patriots game than he has in past games. You just want to kind of continue to see that as a trend. Defensively, outside of Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen, they traded away their 2 star edge rushers, which I somewhat get. Chase Young was always injured. And then you got a second for a guy that was probably going to leave in free agency anyways in Montez Sweat. Especially he got paid big time.
Yeah.
It was a lot of money for a guy that's never had a double-digit sack season. So, anyways,
no.
I just think they have a good foundation. There are some rumors that Ron Rivera might be on his way out. So we'll kind of see. I'm sure Eric Bieniemy is going to be getting a lot of head coaching offers this offseason as well. So it'll be interesting to kind of see where they go from here. Right now, I think they're picking about 12th in the draft. And they could go a litany of different directions. So,
well, and then when it comes to the playoff race, they're just 1 game out back from the Minnesota Vikings. Actually, when I say 1 game out, I think they're just tied right now. They're both 4-5. The Vikings are 5-4. So they are 1 game back. My apologies.
Yeah, that's right.
But still, I said at 8th, they hold the tiebreaker against the Falcons. So, still in a good spot, and the Vikings still have a decently tough schedule, but also so do the Commanders. But I think it's a good point there too about Eric Bieniemy, because one of the things that sticks out to me about the Commanders is just their offense statistically. Yes, the Sam Howell can make errors, so to say, but they have the 6th most passing yards this season, over 2,100 passing yards, almost 2,200 actually. 14 touchdowns and 9 interceptions on the year as a team. And then they are lacking a little bit in the run game, but I do like Brian Robinson. I think some of that has to go to just maybe the offensive line not being the most effective in the league this year. And I think they're ranking at about At 21st right now in total yards, just over 800. So I think what Bieniemy does bring, though, he is utilizing like all their receiver sets that they have and getting the maximum out of McLaurin, Dodson, Curtis Samuel, Downey Brown, and then Logan Thomas as well, their tight end. So I think he is showing that he can be that offensive mind. I think that they need to get some more offensive lineman pieces around him and have Sam Howell keep developing. But in general, this offense seems to be looking great, on a great trajectory, I should say.
Yeah.
With Seattle, let's move on to Seattle here. And I think they're just pretty consistent throughout the board. I feel like Geno Smith has kind of maybe come back to the mean a little bit compared to his amazing season last year. Not to take anything away from last year, but their offense is average statistically, with them being 25th in the run game, and then also they are where are they at here? 22nd in the passing game, just in total yards far on the season.
They've also had a pretty tough defensive schedule.
Yeah,
like week 1 against the Rams, that's kind of crazy, like to begin with, and then like their last 4 games, they played Bengals, Cardinals, Browns, Ravens. 3 out of the 4 of those teams are like top defenses in the league. So
and that's what it's like. I don't want to take anything away from them because what's like they're still able to exploit weaker defenses, which is what Washington has, and that's why. I mean, maybe it'll segue into my prediction here, but just with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba is definitely coming into his own, starting to get into rhythm here. I think they have a good running back by committee so far right now with Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker's been the number 1 guy so far this season, but if you go look at the snap count, Charbonnet is actually maybe starting to take a couple of snaps away from him. So it's going to be interesting to see how that running back dynamic works out. And Geno Smith is playing well. It's just I think that is maybe a sophomore dip, so to say, come back to the mean. But as to your point, though, they're going up against really good defenses as well. They have a fun Thanksgiving game coming up here where they're taking on the 49ers. So I think that'll be a good one to watch. But I think Seattle's going to be able to exploit this weak Washington Commanders defense, especially now, too, since they have traded off a lot of pieces. Secondary is still a work in progress for Washington. I think Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett are going to be able to exploit those weaknesses by Washington.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Seahawks as well. The Commanders, they're shipping it in. I think they're seeing. They're not trying to lose, but they trading off Montez Sweat and Chase Young. They are putting in other players to see the talent level that is on their team and who they want to have going forward. They're looking at the big picture right now. They're not necessarily looking at the ins and outs of each game. And I'm sure the coaching staff still is and everything, but that is kind of the vibe from that locker room that you're getting. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks. They're the better team, and they're actually still playing for this year, whereas I think the Commanders are overperforming. They're not tanking well at the moment.
I think the Commanders are still playing for the season. I think it was just the writing on the walls, what we spoke about with paying those guys, Chase Young and Montez Sweat. But at the same time, though, I think there's still a lot to play for this team. But I think Seattle, just talent-wise, I think they're going to be able I think they're still a little bit better. I think they're going to be able to exploit this team. Also, too, then on top of that as well, we haven't really talked too much about the Seahawks defense, who is one of the better ones in the league as well. They definitely improved a lot in that area.
Yeah. No, the Seahawks have really good defense with Tariq Woolen and Devon Witherspoon kind of leading the way there. So let's go ahead and wrap this video up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on who you think is going to come out ahead in this NFC matchup. Is it going to be the Washington Commanders? Is it going to be the Seattle Seahawks? And other than that, we will see you guys next time.